Ann Shadd Cary once said, "We should do more and talk less." Hi, my name is Duncan, and I'm an associate professor in the Carty Chair in Journalism, Diversity, and Inclusion Studies at Carleton University.
I'm Trish Audette-Longo, and I'm an associate professor in School of Journalism and Communication.
Ann Shadd Cary was the first Black woman to publish and edit a newspaper in Canada. She's also the first woman to publish a newspaper in North America. In 1851, sometime after the Fugitive Slave Act, she moved to Windsor to start a school. And she was a woman who had a lot of opinions. She did a lot of reading, and she did a lot of writing. The stuff that she read was the newspapers of the time. And at that time, newspapers were very much opinionated and aligned with politics. And Ann Shadd Cary thought that she had some stuff to say. And so she started a newspaper in 1853 called the Provincial Freeman. And in that paper, because she was a woman, at first, she didn't let people know that it was her. She had a couple of other white guys hid behind their names and said what she wanted to say. Eventually, the community was like, we know it's you, Ann. And so she had her name in the paper and was very open about her thoughts. Her thoughts included beliefs that women have power and that women should have the influence that they, possess. And she also really believed in the upliftment of Black communities and the Black communities around her. Hers wasn't the only Black-led paper and newspaper at the time. There were also the Bibb. Henry Bibb had a newspaper. His was the very first Black newspaper in Canada. It was called Voice of the Fugitive. And this was a time when it was okay to throw barbs at each other. So for reasons that are kind of long, I won't get into them, but they kind of had to do with the way that schools should run and integration. Henry Bibb and Ann Shadd Cary would throw barbs at each other in their papers. It's actually kind of fun. So if you want to get into that, I highly suggest learning more about that. But we care about Ann Shadd Cary because she should be involved in education when it comes to journalism. When I learned about Ann Shadd Cary, I thought, now why do I know about this lady? Why am I just learning about her now? And so my goal has been for a long time to make sure that her name is attached to journalism in our industry.
So we started this lecture because in Carleton Journalism's 80-year history, we've never had a lecture named for a woman.
Too long.
We started this lecture because we wanted to make sure that we could celebrate and highlight voices of women and non-binary journalists who are making change. We really wanted to highlight what are some of the changes that are happening in journalism, how are we reimagining this industry and this practice, and we also want to make sure that students were a huge part of that. So as we're thinking about this night and as we're preparing for this night, we've hired students to be on stage with our inaugural speaker. And we really want to make sure that students are a big part of this event.
There is diversity in Canadian media. It exists. You have many different racialized people taking part in journalism in our country. The problem is that the numbers are not enough and that the positions that people have are not in leadership. There are some, obviously, but not as many, obviously, as white people. And so it's really important that we take the opportunities that we can to highlight the achievements of Black people in journalism and to recognize the impact that they have when they do enter newsrooms. Something that I say to my students is that when it comes to Black people or any person who's part of a marginalized community, if they come into a newsroom and they say that this issue is important to my community, who is the expert? You're the expert. It doesn't mean that you know everything, but it means that if you are saying something is important to your community, then other people should listen. And so the role of Black people and other people of color and other people who are part of marginalized communities can be really difficult when they're in the newsroom and they're by themselves. So for that reason, it's important, again, that we not only highlight, but that we support people going into journalism and we support them when they are there. That means that me and other faculty have to be very cognizant of the content that we have in our classes. We have to be cognizant and careful about how we even interact with and engage with Black students and students of other races and who are part of other marginalized communities. It's really, really important because so many of our newsrooms, the media houses, the publications, you could read them all if you go and look at their mandates. Many of them say, we want to represent the diversity of Canada. And if you're going to do that, it means that you have to have those folks in your newsrooms and you have to support them in the way that they need to.
I wanted to work with NABA to really think about how do we bring more voices of change to Carleton University? How do we think more about who is able to tell us about doing journalism and changing journalism from mis- and underrepresented communities in Canada? It was also really important to me to find a space or a way for students to be centered in this lecture, to have students on stage with the speaker and lead the questions and ask the things that they are curious about in terms of what journalism's futures include.
So our inaugural lecturer is Camille Dundas, and we're very excited to have her. And there's no one doing it like Camille, just like there was no one doing it like what Ann Shadd Cary was doing in her time. And we couldn't think of a better person to be the first lecturer. And when we found out that she...
Spoilers.
Oh, spoiler? Okay, fine. Okay. I'm not going to say. There's some interesting stuff about her relationship to Ann Shadd Cary that you're going to learn in the lecture, and we're very excited for you to learn about it. Thank you for stopping me. But really, like, we're really glad to have her, and we've gotten a sneak peek in what she's going to talk about. The lecture itself is called From the Provincial Freeman to BuyBlacks.com, Ending Extractive Journalism, and we just couldn't be more excited. We're excited about it because we've also partnered with the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub, and because Ann Shadd Cary was an entrepreneur, we are also featuring 4 other Black businesses run by women. And so there's going to be a lot to see. So you come at 6 o'clock, there's going to be food for you. It's going to be very good. The jerk chicken will be done very well. And of course, there'll be music and all of that. But then we'll get into the lecture. And of course, then you can stay for dessert and take a look at what the businesses have to offer. We're so excited about this event, this inaugural event. I can't wait to see where it goes, and I can't wait to see you.
See you soon.